Hello, I'm Simon Whistler, you're watching TopTenzNet, and in the video today we've got a special one for you. It's the top 10 bald YouTubers. Alright, so we're making this video because of a comment that got out of hand. Someone commented that we should make the top 10 bald YouTubers. We said we'd make it if it got like a certain number of likes. It got a lot of likes, so here we are making the video. It's obviously a bit of a special one. We've selected 10 YouTubers, and these are not people who necessarily have a load of subscribers or have a ton of views. It's just people that we think make great stuff. So I really hope you enjoy the top 10 bald YouTubers.
The top 10 bald YouTubers. Number 10. David Cummings does the best dramatic readings. David Cummings has managed to make his appearance nearly irrelevant to his fanbase. This Canadian performer is all about his voice, which he's used to launch a podcast of dramatic readings of horror fiction called the No Sleep Podcast. Since starting that show, which has been praised by the likes of Fangoria and Wired magazines, Cummings has branched out into posting his readings on YouTube under Chilling Tales for Dark Nights, and it has enjoyed considerable success. Several of his videos, such as The Basement and Why I Didn't Shower for 21 Years, have gotten over 100,000 views. Number 9. Jack Packard is one of Red Letter Media's underrated stars. The most famous members of the movie reviewing channel Red Letter Media, headquartered in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, are by far Mike Stocklasser, Rich Evans, and Jay Bauman. Jack Packard is still one of the most enthusiastic, knowledgeable, and quick-witted members of the team. Anyone can see that who has watched him on their popular Half in the Bag show, where they review popular, recently released films, or their Best of the Worst video series, where strange old VHS programs get made fun of. Packard spun his involvement with Red Letter Media into a separate channel called Previously Recorded, which he hosts with Rich Evans. While there are some movie discussions on there every so often, the primary focus is irreverent video game reviews. By far the most notable and controversial assertion ever made on the channel was when he claimed that the massively popular Sonic the Hedgehog game is the most overrated one ever made because flaws in its design and interactivity make it almost impossible to play as advertised. Number 8. Taras Kulakov is crazy Russian hacker. It took 6 years and 3 channels for Russian immigrant and now North Carolina resident Taras Kulakov to have enough success making YouTube videos that he could quit his day job at Walmart. Probably the fact that the first channel he started in 2009 was devoted to the niche subject of origami was why it was initially slow going. Instructional videos on how to open a can without a can opener or how to make shoes waterproof seem that they'd almost inherently have a more universal appeal. Also, he seems to have an enduring obsession with making videos about Coca-Cola, including what happens when you boil it and how to make popsicles out of it using dry ice. As of late 2016, he has more than 8.6 million subscribers, and they have provided his channel alone with 1.5 billion views. It would have to be one very impressive channel that gets that many views teaching origami. Number 7. Michael STEVENS'S VSauce asks the big questions. This popular educator from Los Angeles, California, started his channel in 2010 making relatively lowbrow videos like Mario Farts, which is actually a slightly worse video than the title implies, but he moved on in a big way. Who would have thought that videos with subject matter like answering questions such as what is the speed of dark, is cereal soup, and how do you count past infinity would have been good for more than 1 billion views with more than 10 million subscribers. His presentation style also helps, sounding excited about the subject matter he's covering, while neither talking down to viewers or trying too hard to be endearing and instead becoming grating. Number 6. Northernlion. With most Let's Play channels, the focus is on making videos for a variety of video games so that viewers can get a taste of the game and move on. Vancouver resident Ryan Letourneau went in a very different direction. At the time of writing, he has made more than 1,500 videos of himself playing the indie game Binding of Isaac, made by the same designer that created Super Meat Boy. These are not brief videos either, many of them stretch over half an hour. To put that in perspective, even if you watched them day and night without a break, it would take well over 4.5 weeks to get through his Binding of Isaac videos. On top of all of that, he's gotten more than 1 million views for some of them. With that level of fan devotion, it's no wonder he was able to make a living producing videos for YouTube as early as December 2011. Sure, he's made videos for other popular video games like Fallout 4 and Grand Theft Auto 5, but the sheer level of commitment he had to Binding of Isaac means all of the gameplay videos he does will be in the shadow of that series, especially as he's had some legal issues with other games, such as Ubisoft hitting a series of videos he did on the Assassin's Creed game with a copyright complaint. Number 5. Matthew Santoro makes lists. A former Canadian accountant switched to making YouTube videos after being laid off. He makes video lists too. Topics have included the worst prisons to live in, weirdly famous people, and stuff you were taught in school that was wrong. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation said in a profile of him that he had a larger presence on YouTube than Drake. Judging from some of the videos he's created, which have brought him hundreds of millions of views and millions of subscribers, he must have been quite the fan of TopTenz. Number 4. Glenn Izett is the bald chef. Despite the rather humble name for his channel, Colonel Glenn Izett's tutorials are some truly excellent cooking instructional videos. There's no bells or whistles, just his calmly explaining the processes for making sumptuous-looking meals with his charming southern accent for more than 300 videos. He makes even food you know from past experience you don't really enjoy look irresistible. Since he's not only an accomplished chef from Washington, D.C., but a man who's traveled around the world, he has an extremely diverse range of recipes from Europe, Asia, and South America. When he shows the recipes for Italian marinara sauce, Korean barbecue, and Peruvian lomo saltado, he's learned the technique to make it authentic. You know that a show host must be doing something right if he can get more than 500,000 views for detailing the best way to cook asparagus, or approaching 200,000 views for a beef and broccoli recipe with his homemade gimmick-free videos. Number 3. Dennis Roady is an extreme prankster. This self-identified natural-born prankster was working at a UPS factory before, in 2014, starting his channel. What it lacks in taste and tact, it makes up for in enthusiasm and boldness. Probably the single best example of this is the one he did at the time of the 2014 Ebola scare. Many of his popular prank videos revolve around having performers pretend to be having sex in public locations ranging from airplanes to libraries to retail checkout areas during Black Friday. Quite a few of them involve excrement in various ways. On the more pleasant side, he's also done quite a few videos where the appeal is that he's performing good deeds, including for homeless people. Like many pranksters, some would argue Roady will sometimes go too far. In 2015, he made his most famous prank video where he went to a Detroit auto show, snapped pictures of vehicles using an app that superimposes car damage like dings and scratches. Although he came away with a video that grew to more than 10 million views, the management for the show condemned his actions. He also has a few videos where he's had run-ins with the police during the shoots. Number 2. Schola Gladitoria loves medieval warfare. When it comes to critiquing such fight scenes as the sword duels in HBO's modern classic Game of Thrones, few people on YouTube are half so qualified as Matt Easton from the UK. He is the founder of a school for the history and use of medieval weaponry, able to get his hands on anything from long swords to peasant armor from the 15th century to Viking throwing axes more than a millennium old. But the video series is also light-hearted enough that he'll take the time to review the lightsaber battles in the Star Wars movies, even though that seems outside of his area of expertise. Among his most recommended videos are his review of the Emmy-sweeping Game of Thrones episode Battle of the Bastards. He discusses the many strengths of the episode but doesn't gush or go on too long. Number 1. Andrea Pellegrini is boldly beautiful. We think of vlogging as largely a young person's game. Viewing trends tend to indicate that appealing to child viewers is the best way to get a large amount of traffic. That makes Andrea Pellegrini's vlog Boldly Beautiful all the better. In September of 2014, she began chemotherapy for her breast cancer. Initially, she felt extremely insecure about her appearance, being something of a fashionista. But at her husband's encouragement, she decided to use her YouTube channel to reach out to other people undergoing the same treatment she was and offer fashion tips for women who felt the need to shave their heads. It may seem like a very esoteric subject matter, but the channel quickly found an enthusiastic audience of people in similar situations. It makes sense, as an estimated 1 in 7 women will suffer from breast cancer at some point in their lives. Her views and followers never climbed into the 7-figure level, but the value of her videos and the impact they had on her audience were enough that she got mainstream media attention.
So I really hope you enjoyed the video, but I couldn't leave it off without doing a bonus entry, and that would of course be TopTenz, because obviously you might have noticed that I am bald. It felt a bit weird putting me in the list, so we didn't do that and kind of had just me as a bonus entry at the end, so you can rank wherever you like among these other entries. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got any other weird topics that you'd like us to cover, let us know in the description below. And as always, guys, thank you for watching.